Welcome back to Echo Ridge. Today, we're gonna put some dupes to sleep. Now, it's not as bad as it sounds. To start off with, I have to fix a couple of problems that I made in the last video that the kind people in the comments pointed out. Yes, I absolutely am overflowing polluted water instead of the clean water. So I need to move this over. Additionally, this whole system here was unnecessarily complicated. That sounds familiar. Instead of having the buffer tank after the bottle filler, why not just have the buffer tank before the bottle filler? Yeah, look, sometimes you're so close to a problem you can't see the solution. I mean, doesn't that look a lot simpler? Up here at the water sieve, I have just added a bridge, so when the water backs all the way up, it'll start overflowing and then start making its way to our clean water supply. Well, relatively clean water, to be turned into oxygen. I also completely forgot one of the systems that I like to put towards the mid or late game, and that's adding carpet to all the barracks. Ooh, look at this. We found somebody who cannot sleep because they're afraid of the dark. All right, Luke, let's get you fixed up. Notice, though, we have 25% stress on poor Shabir. They're one of the newer dupes, so they get themselves into trouble a little bit more. One of the great things you can do to make sure dupes don't end up stressing out is putting carpeted tiles, because as many of you remember, they give the tickled tootsies. Now, unfortunately, I only have 333 reed fibers, so I'm not quite sure how many carpeted tiles I'll be able to put down before running out. Well, at 2 reed fiber per tile, the math is not too bad. I'm just not sure how many it's going to take. See, 13 here, 13 there, that's 26 times 2. So 52 reed fiber per level. And you might be wondering, why don't I just start shearing all the Drecos in here? Well, because it would never end up growing back. Then we'd have a bunch of half-naked Drecos in the colony. The reason why they wouldn't grow back is because it requires them being in a hydrogen climate. Hence the reason we do this setup here. In fact, this is where we get all of our reed fiber and our plastic. I do have some thimbleweed seeds and quite a lot of polluted water. So what I think I'm going to do is actually domesticate some thimbleweed plants and start feeding it some of this polluted water, at least for the short term, until I can carpet all of the barracks. And this will be nice and convenient. We'll just send all the polluted water this way. Oh, this is where polluted water is being dropped off. Well, that's not good. Let's change that. There we go. Now we should have some reed fiber in no time. Although it is almost too warm here. 37 degrees is the max for reed fiber. Oh, this water is 34.7. So why don't I just turn all these pipes into radiant? And then it'll keep this area a little bit cooler so the thimbleweeds will have no problem growing. Ooh, this water is actually 41 where it's being pumped. That's not going to work. It's actually cooler over here. So, change 5. Ooh, I found another one. Catherine is also afraid of the dark. We're hurrying, Luke. Don't you hurry. We'll have that nightlight on as soon as possible. I have moved Catherine and the Luke over here, which this might actually help because I think we had 4 dupes who were afraid of the dark and we had a few too many cots. So I'll do the same thing over here once I find out which dupes are afraid of the dark. And no, I can't click through every single one of them. The water sieve fix is finished, and now we also have thimbleweeds growing quite nicely. Now let's turn our attention to the Somnium synthesizer. The reason why we want to do this is because if you have enough duplicants feeding the dream journals to the Somnium synthesizer, it gives a colony-wide boost to the rest of the duplicants. I don't know if it impacts the bionic dupes yet, but we're about to find out. So step 1 is going to be building them their permanent VRBO. But before I can get that project started, it looks like it's time to print another dupe. Ooh, it gives us an option of a regular dupe this time. And I think we'll take this Quinn. They are Dr. Decorator with a little bit of supply. And while they do have 3 negatives, they're not really a big deal. Decreased decor, increased bladder, and can't do researching errands. So welcome to the colony, duplicate number 139, Ian Smith. Based on the fact that we have 42 bionic dupes, I believe that is regular duplicate number 97. So now all we need is 3 more regular dupes. And then make the rest bionic. That way we end up with 100 bionic dupes and 100 standard dupes. Hopefully the pod cooperates. First thing I'm going to do is activate the Somnium Synthesizer, which is just a button click and an errand. We'll also have to hook some oxygen up to the Somnium Synthesizer, and why is this line not getting... Oh, I see. Apparently I deconstructed some of these pipes. Let me get that fixed. And then what I'll end up doing is prioritizing out of this line, so that way the Somnium Synthesizer gets all the oxygen it needs first. And we can do that by just adding a couple of bridges on this line. And since that one line of oxygen is responsible for doing quite a lot, we will just end up deconstructing, well, not here obviously, but the remainder of these pipes here. I'm trying to design a nice little living quarters for our 7 dupes that are going to be pretty much permanently sleeping. And I can't figure out one that, I don't know, that it looks good and is functional. At first I thought about making them a luxury barracks and then possibly putting a great hall down here. They have bathrooms that are really close anyways, so we wouldn't lose too much in the transport time. But then I have this little room and I'm not sure what to do with it. I was also expecting something else to happen when we activated the Somnium Synthesizer. We've given it its oxygen, so I believe we're just ready to start dispensing pajamas, but I didn't get the standard pop-up that explains what's going on. I'm not sure if it's just because I messed something up or who knows. I'm probably overthinking it. I've gotten some more work done with the Somnium Synthesizer, but alas, it's time to print another dupe. I think we're going to take this ash can. For the simple reason, I think this ash can is actually going to be dupe number 98. Plus, their only negative is that, well, they're allergic to stuff. So welcome to duplicate number 140, Fallout Stan. So here's our finished product so far. I think it looks decent, all things considered. No, this is not going to end up being a barracks. It's too big, but I thought the use of space wasn't too bad. And if our poor dupes are going to have to live a life of just sleeping, I figured they might as well do it in style. Yeah, they don't get the morale bonus from the barracks, but that's not too big of a deal because they do get the +6 morale bonus for the Great Hall, and they'll also get the morale bonus for the washroom down here as well. I have our first dupe set to sleep in the room, and that is going to be Queen Calero. I have a wonderful sleepy time schedule already. Now I just have to go and find the queen in this horrible list that apparently is not alphabetical. There you are. I also have them being skill scrubbed because right now they have a skill requirement of 24, which we're not going to need them to have. None of the dupes are going to be doing any farming or ranching or carrying or anything else. Another cheeky reason why people tend to skill scrub the dupes before they end in the Somnium Synthesizer because they want to make sure the dupe has the highest chance possible to have an overjoyed response. In this case, Queen Calero is a balloon artist, and so during the downtime, she'll hand out balloons. Speaking of which, I need to add maybe 2 more downtime slots to increase the balloon ratio. Now all I have to do is outfit another 6 dupes with pajamas, get them skill scrubbed, and get them assigned. Remember, when they're in pajamas, they incur a pretty significant athletics debuff. I think it's -8. So it makes sense to have all their stuff that they need to do right in this little area. The dupes will sleep here, they'll eat here, they'll go to the bathroom just 2 rows down, and then they'll go back to sleep. That's it. Now, one of the problems with this is just finding that many balloon artists. I suppose it's just going to take me clicking a lot. Here we go. Next up is going to be Andy. To the skill scrubber station you go, Andy. I put in a few skill scrubbers to help speed this along. I thought I had one somewhere on the colony, but apparently not. Or at least I couldn't find it. Give me a few minutes to get all these dupes assigned, and I'll show you our finished product. So I've adopted a system that kind of works out well, and it might make it easier for you to do this. Have one schedule that you move the dupe to before they're in pajamas. Get them skill scrubbed, then put them in pajamas, and as soon as you do, then flip them over to the sleepy time schedule. Otherwise, you have to play this back and forth game to make sure they're putting the pajamas on and they're not halfway across the map with that huge debuff. As we were saying, the debuff is a -8 to athletics and a -10% to stamina. I'm also starting to plan out the remainder of our dupe condominiums, although you'll see why I thought this project would be better done first. I don't know what's going on, but the pod's being really generous with the normal dupes. Yeah, this Nicola can't build anything, and who knows if they'll end up ever going to space. Either way, they're going to make a perfect regular dupe number 99. So welcome to the colony, duplicate number 141, Rebecca DeGuilio. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I am sorry, Rebecca. After quite the micromanagement, we have all 7 dupes, skill scrubbed, and in PJs. They're all assigned to the new sleepy time schedule. And to start off with, I just need to activate the Somnium Synthesizer. After you start giving it a few dream journals, you'll see this meter start to fill up. I think it takes 25 dream journals before it, excuse the pun, wakes up. Then all it needs is 10 dream journals per cycle. Now, despite the fact that I have the conveyor loaders set on the dream journal, the auto sweepers still will not pick them up for the simple reason we have so many idle dupes, the dupes are getting the errand before the auto sweeper can grab it, even though I have the Somnium Synthesizer set at a priority of 1. Not a huge deal considering we have the dupe labor, but if we ever don't, well, the auto sweepers will take care of it. Now, right now I have this gravitas door without any sort of permission set, so sometimes the shortest path is for the dupes to come through here, walking through the sleepy team's barracks, but in the future, this door will have its permissions shut off. Well, because all the duplicants will be going through the Atmosuit checkpoint. For now, this is fine. I do have a refrigerator here where I apparently am missing one of the wallpapers, and it's only loaded with 3 kilos worth of barbecue, so there'll always be the task of duplicants taking food from the standard fridge and dropping it off to here. This is important because you don't want the sleepy people running all around the colony because, well, they're so slow. In that way, they have more time to talk on the telephone during their waking hours, too. I'm sure I could have been a little bit more restrictive with the amount of space in here and fit their own bathrooms. That way, I could have prevented them from even leaving the room to begin with. But I don't mind if they spend some time in the recreation rooms or use the general bathrooms. Once their morale bonus kicks in, because all 7 duplicants are balloon artists, it'll be handy to have them in this short little area, that way they can hand off some balloons. For instance, the Queen, whenever she decides to wake up, is already under the balloon artist effect. The question is though, why is it still showing she has a morale requirement of 24? Oh, Queen, you did not fully skill scrub yourself. Back to a normal schedule for you. Luckily, the Queen has been on the colony for quite some time, so their athletics is very high, so even with the pajamas, it shouldn't be too big of a deal, also considering I have the skill scrubbers right here. So it's not that far of a walk either. But look how happy she is going to the skill scrubber. Even shooting some finger guns? After enough time, enough dream journals has been dropped off to the Somnium Synthesizer, and you're going to be given the option to unlock the maximum aptitude mode. We will click the button, and it even gives us a free toy. The model plane is just a simple artifact. It has a decor of 15 at a radius of 2. If you dig down into the lore, you'll understand why it's a model plane, but I'll allow you to discover that. But once we do all that, the Somnium Synthesizer is now humming along quite nicely. In fact, it's pretty loud and you'll hear it for the rest of your playthrough. I'm going to go insane. But more importantly, now every single dupe on the colony has the maximum aptitude buff, plus 5 to athletics, strength, science, piloting, and machinery, plus a minus 25% to stress. And yes, I have confirmed, it also impacts bionic dupes. Another great thing is even the sleeping dupes also get the maximum aptitude. So even though they have the minus 8 athletics for having the pajamas on, the plus 5 almost offsets it. That's gonna about do it for this episode. I know it was a little bit shorter, but I have also been working on the rest of the condominium in the background, so you'll get to see all those updates in the next episode. I'm looking forward to reading what you have to say about this video in the comments below. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.